Hey dolls, I'm Sheenam Inferno and welcome back to Infernal Basics. Today we are going to tackle one of the most dreaded topics, contouring. So let's get closer and let's contour. You will need three genres of products: creams, powders, and applicators. This category is more versatile and customizable. It can range from a few to many products. What I use and for what reason is listed on the screen and will be explained deeply as we move ahead. In the Infernal Basics series, I prefer focusing only on the technique, and therefore I'm not listing or promoting any particular brand. I do not want my viewers to think that they need to use exactly the same products as me to master basics. But as always, every product, shopping links, prices, and more will be in the description box in case you want to refer. Contouring depends mainly on three criteria: your general preference and makeup style, the shape of your face, and what is the purpose of your final look. Like, where are you going to wear it? Is it for a photo shoot or editorial? Or you are aiming drag? The general rule for highlight is to use 2 to 3 shades lighter than your foundation. Today we are learning how to do a full-on contour, but for actual day to night wear. The areas that usually all of us will highlight are under eye, the forehead, and the chin. Other places can be under the cheekbone, along the smile lines and Cupid's bow. The brow bone and the inner corner of the eye is mostly highlighted with powder products. If you want to go with creams in these regions, you can really go very light, even with a white, if you can pull it off. You must be thinking why I didn't mention the nose. It is because the nose contour is a little more complicated than the rest of the face. As of now, I have just gone along the length of the nose. Keep in mind that this line of highlight on the nose will be thick if you want to broaden the nose and thin if you want to slim it down. Make sure that you read all the tips in the video as a lot more detail is in them. If you just want to be photographed and not wear it around, you can go even lighter to set off a stark contrast. Using darker colors creates shadows and hollows. Again, typically 2 to 3 shades darker than your foundation should be used. An easy way to figure where to stop the cheekbone contour is to draw an imaginary line from the center of your eye down, and that is the point where you should stop. Where to start and continue with it is mentioned on the screen, and be sure to read it. The areas you want to shadow are the ones that you want to recede, or the ones where you want to emphasize the bone structure. This is the part that will actually provide the skeleton to your face. The parts to focus now are the cheekbones and the foreheads, mainly all around the hairline. The other part can be your jawline, sides of your chin, below your lip, that I am not doing now because I have lipstick on, and on top of the lip as 3 lines. For the nose, draw 2 straight lines starting from your brows all the way down and join them at the tip of the nose. The lines will be closer for a slimmer nose and vice versa. Here I want to point out that not all of us needs a slimmer nose just because everyone on Instagram is doing so. It's always beautiful to apply a little highlight on the nose, but you might not even need to apply the darker shade if you already like your nose. I do it to make my nose a little more straight visually, as I have a slight bump at the sides, and not to make it slimmer. You also need to understand the shape of your nose to contour it correct. I think it needs a whole separate video to explain it further, but basically, don't go with what everyone is doing. For beginners, if you don't have a problem with your nose, don't fiddle with it. On the contrary, a broader nose might suit you more. How you contour will differ widely in different situations. And know that you just don't learn to contour. You should learn to contour for your face. You should learn how to use your features best. And that requires practice to figure what works for you and what does not. You can use darker shades if you have the skill to blend it out well. Nose contour is tricky as you want to blend but still want to retain the dark lines. For a beginner, it can be tough, and my 101 rule for it is to apply some cream highlight along the dark lines and then continue blending. The sides will have a beautiful blend whilst the dark lines will be retained. The nose might look more bronzed than the rest of the face, but don't worry, we will balance that soon. I am baking all the highlights with a loose powder and a damp beauty blender. I'm not using a whole lot of powder as you probably see while baking, as I don't want to interfere with the rest of my contour. I'm just using enough to set my creams, mattify and brighten them. I'm using a bronzer to set all my shadowed regions. I'm using a very warm tone bronzer, so I'm restricting it just on my contours. Right now you have a choice of using a more coral tone bronzer or a blush instead. In that case, I will extend the color as far as my cheeks and flush up with it.
I know I'm holding on to this, holding on.
If you are a beginner, don't disturb your nose contour right now. You might mess it up. In the next step, we will be hovering the entire face with a pressed powder and a big fluffy brush. This is the time where we are going over the nose along with the rest of the face and not only set, but create a sure shot flawless transition throughout the face. Definitely go with a very light hand. Give your cheeks some life with the blush of your choice. I included the blush in the powders because you can literally use only the blush and skip the bronzer to contour your cheeks, and I do that very often. Apply shimmer highlights to further light up the areas you want to show up most. Keep in mind, if you are working on an older client, it's better to skip the highlighter altogether till the time the skin is not exceptionally good and wrinkle-free. Now, you are chiseled, you are contoured, you are reformed.